Welcome to American Mogul, and we are going to be discussing today the inflation narrative part 2. Yeah, correcting the wealth gap. Yeah. Now, I've explained how the narrative of inflation has been seen as a bad thing. Yeah. That inflation is bad. But of course, that couldn't be further from the truth. If you look at the last 12 years, yeah, where inflation has been near or at zero, interest rates have been near or at zero, we have seen the meteoric rise in the billionaire class. And we have also seen poverty increase exponentially. Yeah? So if you take those two into consideration, how is inflation bad? How is inflation not creating a wealth gap? Inf- Zero monetary policy, ZERP, yeah, creates asset price bubbles. And of course, the poor have no assets. The only asset that the poor has is their labor, right? The work they do. But if you set interest rates at zero, manipulate the CPI so that inflation is set at zero, then their wages don't go up. And there's no one alive that does not see price inflation. Technology does create and have deflationary forces now. But it doesn't take out the majority of the issue, which is most people buy labor intensive goods. Yeah. Not technology intensive goods, labor intensive goods. Yeah. If you buy a home or rent a home or apartment, whatever the case may be, it took physical labor to make that building. If you buy food to consume, it takes physical labor and transportation to get that food onto your plate. When you look at how the world is situated, everything is geared towards manipulating the narrative. You, as an average person, would like to go to school, graduate, find someone, yeah, buy a home, and start a family. However, there is a small percentage of the population, the 1%, who basically own everything, who don't have the same goals as you have. Their goals are to maximize profit, maximize wealth, maximize self-interest, yeah. Which I don't think self-interest is a bad thing. If you can moderate it, yeah. If you can, too much of anything is not a good thing. When you look at inflation and you think zero interest rates or negative interest rates, ZERP, NERP, that they are creating more and more and more billionaires, super rich, super wealthy, and more impoverished or scraping by or barely making it in this economy. You have to consider that that policy is a negative policy. It's not just negative in interest rates, it's negative to humanity. Think about velocity of money. How people are saying velocity of money is approaching zero. That's because all the money is going in one direction, to the rich. Because with zero interest rates or negative interest rates, they're the only ones with the funds to accumulate assets. Regular people cannot fight that battle. However, and I've been saying the magic number for inflation should be 7.2, right? And the reason why I say that is with interest rates, price fixing, wage fixing at 7.2% inflation rate yearly, you reduce the asset values, right? Because think about it, if $200,000 home in today's zero environment, if interest rates went from 3% to 7%, that $200,000 home would be $100,000. More people could afford that. Okay, prices go up 7.2%. So bread costs more, televisions cost more, milk, everything. But your wages go up by 7.2%. That keeps your cost of living, right, in an ever descending pattern. Where you say to yourself, because think outside the box, yeah? You say to yourself, well, if everything is 7.2% going up, how? It is the burden of debt upon you. Your biggest expense in your life is going to be your home. Your second biggest expense, material expense, is going to be your car. Yeah? Those are the things that are going to drag and keep you captive. However, if your wages are going up 7.2%, in 10 years you double your income. Right? Those expenses, major expenses, become an ever smaller and smaller and smaller burden upon you and your family. Now, with the correction that will come in asset prices for normal people, I'm not talking about stock market, that's going to be for another video, yeah. Because I believe this, what nobody is seeing, right, is that the stock market is destroying velocity of money. Yeah, but we'll get to it in another video. So the rich don't get these special privileges of 0% money. Now they have to think about what they invest in. Their asset values have been cut in half, right? When they take a loan, they have to pay 7.2%. Like everyone else, you put a level playing field, yeah? Now, rich, there's, in a history of mankind and a future, there'll always be rich, there'll always be well-to-do, there'll always be middle class, there'll always be the poor. But we have to stop the bleeding. Yeah? We have to stop central banks, policymakers, from siphoning the wealth out of the vast majority of people into an ever shrinking uber class. Yeah. Inflation, if set properly at 7.2%, can correct the wealth gap by bringing up those who need it and bringing down those who either abuse it or don't deserve it. Yeah. There's a lot of reasons why people become wealthy. And 9 out of 10 of the reasons are no good reasons, yeah. But there are some wealthy people who earned it, deserve it. God bless them for it. However, you cannot do it in the back of the majority of people, and especially the young people. We have to readjust the system where we use inflation as a tool, as a carpenter, a hammer, a carpenter's hammer to build them a better future, where they can invest in housing, invest in family, build a future, and help build the future of tomorrow. But we need to do that today. We cannot keep the wealth gap growing and growing and growing. And you have central bankers and politicians saying, well, we don't understand how this is happening. Well, what do you mean you don't understand? There's only 3 possible outcomes or reasons, let's say. Either central bankers are imbeciles, 2, central bankers are corrupt, or 3, they are corrupt imbeciles, right? So none of those 3 options are good. How is it even possible for a politician to stand before their electorate and tell them, oh, I'm going to government to help you? Oh, come on. Please. The political forum is littered with lies. However, if you get involved, if you are a baby boomer, Gen X, Gen Z, millennial, whatever you are, use the power of your voice. Yeah? Write letters, call, text, and demand change in a peaceful way. Because if nobody gets the message, in future, this wealth gap divide, in history, it's never led to anything good, yeah. Ask or read the diaries of Robespierre. Yeah. There is a time where we need to stand up for those who cannot stand for themselves. Yeah. Our children, our grandchildren, they have no voice. Yeah. But we are stealing their future and giving it to these miscreants at the top of the food chain. We are sending our future generations into servitude. The future does not need us 15, 20, 30 years from now. The future generations need us today. If you want to correct the wealth gap, you must increase interest rates and set inflation at 7.2.